I'm here with Ivan Paez.
Pace. Mm-hmm.
Paez?
Pace.
Sorry.
Yes,
okay. Let's do that.
No
Get your name right. That would be good. He's
okay.
with Senior Helpers. And we're going to talk about aging well, compassionate care solutions in Racine County.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be doing a whole series of these podcasts over the next year, maybe several years. Who knows? There's a lot to unpack. But Ivan is really focused on in-home healthcare, but you've got some other different kind of models that really help people transition into a lot of different types of care too, right?
Correct.
So kind of like scope out who Senior Helpers is, how do you fit into the organization? We'll start kind of with the basics right there.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for having me and hosting us. We really appreciate, obviously, your partnership and the platform that you guys are offering to us so we can express a little bit more of what the in-home care, aspect of it is, where we come in from, somebody gets discharged from the hospital, goes into rehab, where do we fit in? So obviously helping a senior, not necessarily just because of our name, but also just anybody that might need help, at home. Whether it's with respite care, companionship, or just, if you need assistance with some personal cares, we're able to assist with that as well.
Or if you're like a single mom and you've got a bunch of kiddos at home and you might need just an extra pair of hands.
That's right.
And you may not have that backup person. That I could see that definitely happening too.
Yeah, it
not
could,
as much, but
yeah, it could, and you could have obviously in the Hispanic culture for myself, I can speak on that I know our parents, my grandma lives with my aunt down in Houston, and it's traditional for us not to put them in a placement at home or anywhere else, so they stay. And to your point, if you have life just in general, we can come in and help out, whether it's some laundry, medication reminders, or just some assistance to that, to that individual that can help out. So, and give some of that burden off of mom and so she can focus on her work, her kids, and, obviously the day-to-day operations.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about how Senior Helpers, you talked a little bit about people who might, who are elderly, but also people who might just need some extra assistance. Are there any other types of people that might use your services?
Yeah, so we have, it's called Flex Home, which is a unique setup. It's a fractional care that we offer as well underneath our Senior Helpers platform, that we're able to assist an individual if they live in an independent facility, if they need help with just medication reminders or just putting on their socks in the morning versus the standard 1 hour service. We can do a 15-minute increment. Versus a lot of them are like, well, I don't want to pay, or I don't want you here for the entire hour, or I don't want to pay for an entire hour shift.
Need a little help.
Just a little help, just to keep you independent. You're there. You just need a little bit of assistance, whether it's, again, half an hour here, half an hour there during the week. And again, we can come in, help out for a fraction of the price and also a fraction of the time, and just continue to keep them independent. That's one piece there. And I think the other question that you had was who is Senior Helpers and how it all started. So the company's been around since 2002. We have over 300 plus franchisees across the country. So we're very proud of it. We have a good support from from a corporate standpoint too. Number one is obviously having the big brand name, but also having a lot of corporate support, and then bringing a lot of technology and support for our staff and also for our clients, as far as, making sure that we're putting in the proper care notes, making sure that we're adding all that information in so the family members can see that and what's being tracked on a day-to-day operations.
So how did this work become important to you? What said, that's the kind of work I want to do?
Yeah. So, no, it's a good question. So it started back in July of 2021. So my brother-in-law, he owns out in Fort Collins, he's got 3 locations, and then he's been with the Senior Helpers brand for quite some time now. He's got over 10 years of experience with them. And we were up in the UP with my, on a family vacation with my wife's side, and he happened to find that there was an independent agency here in town, being, People Care, was up for sale. And obviously the opportunity came up and we talked a little bit about it. I didn't know much of this space before because my background's in the beverage sales. So 10 plus years there, I dealt with it in Milwaukee. And so what happened was my kind of hit home a little bit when my mom had triple bypass surgery, and it took like 3 working adults to basically put their life on pause and help her out during that recovery stage. And actually credit to my sister that she did a lot of the hands-on with my mom. So I saw how much it took for that, for one person, and how much it takes for one individual to get back on their feet. And also going back to my, my Hispanic tradition that, obviously keeping grandma, mom, and dad and everybody close to home together is important. So I saw how my mom, has been helping out my grandma as well, obviously from a distance, but also, my aunt does a lot of, she's a caregiver as well down in the Houston area as well. So, and then she does it as a career. She also helps out with my grandma.
So it really runs in the family.
It does. So that's
kind of got the hook, right?
I did. So that's where it kind of became the why for me. And then I did see, obviously from a business opportunity, we saw that there was a lot, there's a lot of traditional, like, just agencies in the area too, but what more can we offer, to our staff and also to our clients as well? Just, thinking outside the box. We just don't want to be traditional. We want to see what more can we do for them, and just think outside the box and get creative with it.
So you were telling me earlier about how you've got really strong relationships with a lot of the assisted living facilities.
Yeah, so we have.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so we have. So there's a few buildings here in because we cover Kenosha and Racine, and we've created a good partnership with them. Independent living, assisted facilities, and then also with ADRC, Kenosha and Racine. We have great relationships with them, and again, it's more of a networking and connection and just being an expert matter and helping a family that's in need and just creating that relationship with them.
Why is that important?
I feel like it's important due to the fact that a lot of people look at you like an expert matter in one segment, but you also have to have a good network of people that you can rely on and to give them that, give them that advice. Because if you have someone that has questions in regards of how do I find out if there's a grant or some sort of financial support, obviously pointing them in the right direction and guiding them through those steps as well. We like to do that due to the fact that, number one, even if you're not our client, we want to make sure that we have that connection with you, longevity, because it's, we're not in it for the short term. We're here for the long haul, because you might need help yourself, or you might know somebody in the future that might need assistance as well. Yeah,
and that's always kind of a dicey situation that you are in. I think, as somebody who is 55 years old, and my mom and dad are like 81 and 82. Dad just turns 82 on Wednesday. Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday.
But like when, you don't know how much the capacity is of being able to, because in my situation, like my dad does all of her cares. And so if he ever, has any issues, the question is who's taking care of mom and who's also giving dad respite, right?
Yeah.
So like those are situations like I'm thinking a lot about that even as a daughter, right? And so like when you're talking about what are some of the common themes like around personalized care that you think are really important for daughters and sons?
Yeah.
As they kind of navigate sometimes like maybe dad's slowing down or mom's slowing down, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, the personalizing a care plan is super important due to the fact that, they have their routine. Obviously, we're all, creatures of habits, and we want to, whether it's, hey, let's put the remote control on this side of the couch, or making sure that, the laundry's folded a certain way. And if we're not able to support dad in that aspect, and if he's going to get upset, then I'll get a call from you saying, hey, my dad's not really happy because of this. And even if it's something as small as that, but again, it's just personalizing it, making it custom to them just to make sure that, number one, they feel comfortable having some support at home because you can't be there, or mom has to go to the grocery store just to give her a little bit of respite care for herself so she can go get her hair done, get her nails done, so she can get away for a little bit while he's at home being taken care of. So, and again, from a, if you see it from a consistent basis, obviously building that relationship, building that rapport with them, that's important to us too.
And, as kind of like zooming out a little bit, there's a lot of things happening from the policy making standpoint of the impact of some of the decisions that are being made on assisted living facilities, and also how does this impact you, but also, where do you see your business going?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we try to connect, whether, assisted facilities, they have their rules and regulations. Independent facilities do as well. But my thing is just having that education standpoint for all families, whether if your loved ones are in an assisted facility, or independent living, how can we help them? If their expectations aren't being met, how can we help?
You mean through an advocacy kind of lens?
Yeah, yep.
That's really neat.
Just to more advocate for them, due to the fact that sometimes it might, families might not see it that way. And again, more, how can we, because 9 times out of 10, if you can call my office and if we can point you in the right direction or give you some guidance on what you should be doing or what the next steps are, and even if you're not our client, that's okay, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's it's the long haul versus short term. And the other thing too is that a lot of people get overwhelmed. Speaking of overwhelming, a lot of folks get very burnt out dealing with the VA. Mm-hmm. So we have our in-house nurse, that she's a former veteran herself, so she can help advocate for that as well. So again, you got the veteran down Sean Rivers here in Racine. He's a phenomenal point of contact too, that you can definitely help out and lean on as well. He can help you guys through those steps.
And you raise an interesting point, because I think sometimes people oftentimes get so isolated, mm-hmm. and their world becomes so small.
Yeah.
And it feels like, you guys are going to come in and really help kind of make that support system bigger.
Correct.
And how important is that? And what kind of changes do you see in the impact of what you do?
Yeah, the big thing is what's happening in your world versus what's happening in their world. Their driving privileges are being taken away. Their independence is being taken away. I have to have somebody here babysitting me 24/7. And it's like, it's not that. We don't look at it that way. We're just there just to assist in that step. But the thing is that to the individual themselves, the clients, they think that their world's completely upside down now. So the thing is that making sure that you're walking them through it, but again, not speeding through it, because the thing is that it's just going to put them in a really uncomfortable stage. But the thing is that we want to make sure that they're comfortable. Balance the steps through everybody through the process. But yeah, it takes a little bit of time, again, because we're all wired to have things done our way and keeping our independence, and no, I don't need any help. But the thing is that just making sure that you keep that balance, and communication is obviously, it's a big thing too. Just communicating on what you're doing and how the steps are coming along the way. Back to your question was, what's important to them, and they feel like they're isolated because they're probably not getting the support that they think they need, or that their questions aren't being answered the way that they want them to. So again, just advocating for them and just walking them through the steps. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time for them to see the big, the big picture.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think we're headed in that direction, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard, as a mom, or actually not as a mom, but I mean as a daughter or a son, mm-hmm. when you're watching your mom and dad age, you're like, okay, at what point do you have that conversation of, do you need some help? Or maybe they don't trust people that aren't in their family.
Yeah.
And how do you like allay some of that?
Yeah. The big thing that we do is that, number one, we want to have like a familiar face. So you have our client service manager. She's the first point of contact that, when she comes out to the house, does the assessment. And then we have our office staff that'll help out with, warm introductions, making sure that you have a familiar face, not just a total stranger showing up at your front doorstep and saying, okay, I'm here to help you out, because that's just going to be the wrong way to start anything. So, also if mom and dad or grandma and grandpa aren't familiar with who you are or why they're there. So it can be a little bit of a rocky situation, but again, it's how you present it and also how you start things. So
how do you start things with that conversation? I think that's one of the things that might be the secret to all of this. Of like, well, maybe you're doing a lot and I see this, right?
Yeah. The big thing is having, again, putting the facts on the table, but also weighing the pros and cons to the client and the family as well. If you have a POA that's in agreement with what's going on, but mom and dad are resisting, they don't want any help. Also revisiting it maybe at a later time too, maybe having a conversation with the POA or the family member that's seen that separately aside, right, and having some prep work before we go in and meet with the individuals that need help. It's super important because then you have key words and key things that you should be saying and you shouldn't be saying. And again, it's more going back to that informational to them, just saying, hey, we're just here to give you some information. We're not here to sign an agreement. We're not here taking payment. We're not here to take your money. So,
right.
Because that's the big thing. Everybody's like,
everybody wants to trust, right? Yeah, it's such a huge thing, especially when you're in that.
Yeah.
And that, and you remind me of a funny story. So last year, I know you and I talked about this prior conversations, but like my mom and dad lived in Ohio. My dad was like, he's 81 years old and he's baling his hay. He comes in, hangs out with my mom. He goes, I'm done with this. We're selling the farm.
Yep.
And that was a lot,
yep,
right? That was a very big, heavy lift because they had almost 60 years worth of stuff.
Yep.
That's hard.
It is.
All right.
It's a big transition.
And so then they go to Florida and now I get photos of my mom literally in flapper outfits. And the joy, I could hear the lift in their voices.
Yeah.
That they're doing the things that they can still do when they want, how they want, and
Yeah.
And that's so important.
They get to enjoy life. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so those are the things like just watching my own mom and dad go through this process. It's like, well, my dad still takes care of her most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, he's still good because his batteries are recharged.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's been very interesting to watch because I get these photos of them at a dance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you two teenagers doing?
The good thing is that they, like you said, they reset their battery and they're reliving and enjoying life. Obviously your dad's not having to worry about overseeing all the day-to-day stuff and burning himself out. Now he can spend some time with your mom and actually enjoy retirement and enjoy life.
Their relationship shifted
mm-hmm.
quite a bit because I think he only saw himself as the caregiver.
Correct.
Right? And so their relationship changed and I was like, are you guys doing okay? And he's like, nope, I'm not. I'm like, all right, so I'll come hang out with you for a week, Mom, for a week. You can go hang out with my older sister and enjoy her company.
Yeah.
So like we started doing that.
And you'll have, and that's a good point because you'll have, a lot of couples, especially if they've been married for a long time.
Right.
They almost kind of like resent themselves from being together all the time. And it's like they bicker and bicker and bicker. And it's like, it's not that. That's not what we want. We want is for whoever the main caregiver is. It's usually the wife or the husband. It's not necessarily the kids or the family members. It's either whoever else is in that household. Mm. It might not necessarily be a spouse either. It could be, a son or a daughter that happens to live with that individual that needs the support. And then it becomes almost like a burden. Like it's like, oh, I guess I have to do this for my wife. Or I have to do this for my husband. But that's the thing. It's like we kind of want to alleviate that a little bit from them and just so that relationship stays there, kind of like your parents.
Right, right. See?
Yep.
I got you. So let's try and how do you break down some of the stigmas around seeking senior care support?
Yeah, a lot of it is, it's one of the big ones that I get is, the price is too high, the cost is too high, or why should we hire you guys versus hiring somebody independently? You could hire a private caregiver for less than our rates are, yes, but also you're not having 24/7 support. You can call my office at any given time. You're gonna have somebody live that's gonna answer the phone. Also, you have support from a scheduling standpoint, from a client service manager standpoint, and also an operations standpoint as well. Fully insured and bonded. Obviously we're credentialed with the Better Business Bureau, which is great, but also we strive in trying to perfect what we're doing due to the fact that we want to make sure that we're improving and not just staying stagnant. So what more options can we give them? From a client standpoint, also for our staffing standpoint, for more training, more advancement, more opportunities for them, not just to look at it as this is just my job, as a career path as well too. But again, it's also keeping that, going back to that stigma that people are like, well, why should I hire you versus hiring somebody? If you hire a caregiver that's privately, what if they get sick? The buck stops there. For us is we have an entire roster of people that can come in and help out. I have a backup plan. I have caregiver leads that I can come in and they can help out in absence of your favorite caregiver. So again, having that backup plan is super important, but also, having somebody that knows what you want when you guys want it. So.
And it's such an important relationship to have, I imagine, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this segment up. We're going to start the next one in a few seconds, but I really appreciate the time that you spent with us today. It was really informative. I'm super happy that we got a chance to chat about all of the things that are happening, because it's such an important topic, because we do have a lot of people who are needing care, but may be in a different place where they're not really ready for assisted living, or maybe they're not thinking, that's not on their radar. They just need a little bit of help.
Correct.
Right. So thank you for doing that.